All right, we're back. I'm so glad that you're back, Meelz. You know, we've missed you. It's been 2 weeks. It felt like 50 months. You know, I'm really glad that you.
I was once Meelz. But since my brother, I have gone on a journey in these past 2 weeks. I am no longer Meelz. I am Brother Sunflower.
Wow.
I am, I have been cleansed of the negativity that is the IWC, my friend. I have been cleansed over the last number of weeks of talking about very large men who carry lunchboxes or groups with questionable names. Sir, I have been completely I'm redefined as we hear. I'm now Brother Sunflower. I'm no longer Meelz. I'm Brother Sunflower. Naji Ramba.
Welcome back, Brother Sunflower. It's
right,
episode one. It's episode 155 of the A Show, and you have 1 hour to apologize.
Naji Ramba.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the A Show. I am Justin here with Brother Sunflower himself, Meelz. First show back. We did a lot of weird stuff. Some weird things happened. I had to fire the crew that I came up with. When you were gone. I want to thank Mark, Cyrus, and the Visibilities. Also want to thank Nelson, who was here last week, but we booted them. They had to go. We got the boy back. I'm not sure. Should I call you Mr. Sunflower? What should I do here?
Listen, Meelz. You know what? I'm going to for this show. I'm going to see how it sounds, because for the past 2 weeks, I'm telling you, I've been enlightened. I've been just a different person. The air is a little bit more cleaner.
Wow.
The mask is a little bit tighter still, because the president is the president is a little crazy. It's still a little bit tighter, but still, I am enlightened. I'm divine. I am everything, my friend. Let's go with Meelz for the show, and we'll see how we feel at the end of the show. I'm thinking of completely transforming into Brother Sunflower, and just assuming that is all monikers amongst all RNC radio platforms. But we'll see by the end of the show. We'll see how it ended the show. But yes, I am here. I'm glad to be back. Thank you, everybody who, in the time when I was going on my spiritual journey, assisted and held the hands of Brother Davis along the way. The Visibilities, sir, with just a band I never knew existed.
Let's not lie. They're a terrible band. They're a terrible band.
Mark, who seemingly transported from the world of the alpha sport, #elite, to this universe here to provide his commentary. So thank you to Mark.
Yeah. And we missed you. We missed you, Meelz. Not me. Like, I was fine. It was new and improved. We had 205 in Park. How'd you feel about 205 in Park?
205 in Park was a little ghetto. I'm not even going to explain to you. It was a little,
wow. Okay.
It was a little.
What'd you feel?
I didn't know whether Mark was Roxy. I didn't know what was going on. But you know what? We made it work.
Thank you to everybody that filled in and everyone that listened and didn't leave and unsubscribe from the show. Of course, you can subscribe to us at the A Show RNC Network on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Of course, we have this show. We also have the G Show, which I am currently, oh my God, I'm very tired watching the G one every single day. I don't know why I'm doing this. Well, we have episodes. We have an episode on Wednesday. We have an episode on Friday this week. Have you been listening to that, Meelz?
I listened to the first one, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to catch these shows, and then I never caught one after that. So, I give all power to everyone who is currently going through this experience of the G1. Well, all right. So we have to look on the bright side of this thing, right? It's happening.
Mhm.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not been canceled. It's not been postponed indefinitely. It is still happening. So we have to at least look on the bright side for that. We could be not experiencing it. I mean, usually my extent of seeing the G1 is I'll see gifts when I wake up at 6 a.m. for work. But since I no longer have to wake up at 6 a.m. for work, I no longer see those gifts. So I truly have no idea what's going on the G1. Is anyone looking promising thus far?
I have to say, right now, currently, without spoiling anything, I'd say that Naito, Kota Ibushi, and Jay White are in very good position, as well as Tanahashi. So, I mean, it looks to be like the same old players, but there are a couple, little cracks in different plots and twists in there for the G1. We're starting to get really down to the nitty gritty. We have about 7 or 8 days left of the tournament. So definitely check that out with myself and Cyrus. We also have the Rewriters Room with Armand, who had me on the show, of course, a couple of weeks ago. He has a new episode coming out this week. And we have, of course, Spot Callers, which we're going to have a new episode coming out to you guys this month on the Evil Victory Road 2011. That's TNA Impact Victory Road 2011. You already know what show we're talking about. And we also have, what am I missing? The War Report, of course, with Cyrus and, his cavalcade of different guests. But let's get straight down to it on No Holds Barred. Meelz, this is your first No Holds Barred in 2 weeks, and we have a lot of news to go through before we get to the actual shows. Starting off with WrestleMania 37. It was set to be in LA. So we were all excited about that. I had my money ready, but they're talking about moving it back to the Raymond James Stadium in Tampa next year. They're going to do a do-over. More than likely, possibly, and do that in maybe a partially full arena or an empty arena. Who knows? I'm sorry, empty stadium. Who knows? How do you feel about this news, Meelz?
Don't rent out a stadium if it's going to be empty. That's how I feel about it. That's legitimately how I feel about it. If you were going to rent out Raymond James Stadium, the full stadium, and perform in front of a crowd of no one or LED screens, don't rent out that stadium. I would rather the Amway Center. It seems to be set up nice. I'm pretty sure you could hang some stuff from the ceiling over there and spruce it up a little bit. But first of all, I think, the pandemic, I think everyone, especially this year, I mean, considering the plans, canceling WrestleMania was like 6 months ago. And I don't know if you still feel forlorn about it or you're just kind of over it. Did you get your refund?
Yeah, I got my refund about a month later. Me, Mark, and Cyrus did. I was sad about it, but I think, it was that initial COVID wave of sadness, really, where it was like you were witnessing everything kind of go away. And now it's like it's very commonplace. I mean, look at what we're seeing now. We're seeing movies completely pushed out of 2020. We're seeing movie theaters completely shut down and go out of business. Like this, there are bigger things, at play here than, oh my God, we're missing WrestleMania in a stadium. Like it was cool to see it, when they were able to do it in the PC. But I do think that it's very admirable in a way to kind of give that back to Tampa. I just don't like, and I'm pretty sure you feel me on this, I don't like them just going back to Florida in general. I feel like if they're going to do this, why don't they just leave?
All right, so here's the thing about them going back to Florida, which is why I think both of you and I both know why they're going back to Florida. It's because there's no rules. There is no pretty much everything has been kind of lifted. People don't even have to wear masks in Florida. Whereas in LA, I'm pretty sure they're pretty stringent on following a set of guidelines that you need to follow, which is why WrestleMania will never work in LA. And unfortunately, it's sad for me and sad, I think, for a lot of people as well, because I think everyone who wasn't going to, Tampa this year was like, okay, we're definitely in LA. Like we're definitely over there. It's amazing weather. It's amazing time. Everyone's kind of over there. Of course, we're going to go over there. And that's kind of getting taken away from us. It seems like there's been no official announcement, but I wouldn't be surprised if they re-rock that pirate thing and decide to hang it back in the stadium and try to recreate a lot of the moments over there. Yeah, it's not going to be the same. But I get where they're doing it. I get if I can see lower bowl, not full, upper bowls
split. Like
chairs. It's gonna be weird. That's gonna be weird to look at unless they put an LED between people or something.
They did what the NFL did this week, which I'm not going. Let's just be clear. But what the NFL did this weekend, what they have like 25,000 people there or something like that. One of the games. I think they might be trying to aim for a new COVID record, which would be the sickest shit I've ever seen in my life. But I do get the strategy here. They don't want to debut in the Sophie Stadium in LA if it's going to be in these types of conditions. I completely understand. So why not just push LA back to 2022 and then do Tampa, and then hopefully we're out in front of these things. And we're far enough back that we can guess and pray and hope. Vote people that we will be ahead of this thing in 2022. So I'm going to hold out hope that LA is going to be the next city and they'll get their pirate ship in Raymond James in 2021 for WrestleMania.
Imagine whoever the announcer is like, we have just broken the COVID live attendance record of a signature 20,000 or something along those lines, and like everyone kind of cheers behind their mask and stuff like that. I'm interested in kind of how they do it. If it's anything like what they did with NXT, which we'll talk about a little bit, it could be interesting. I mean, WWE has kind of been, I don't want to say in the forefront, because it's not like they, like, I was on the show a week ago, but I heard what happened a week ago. But I'm not going to say the forefront, but, they've been deciding to take steps forward in improving everything, so they're able to still run a show. So we'll see how it comes when it's WrestleMania time. Yeah.
Next up on No Holds Barred, the WWE has elected a new member to their board of directors. Barstool Sports CEO Erica Nardini has been elected to be in the board of directors, and she has had quite a storied career. Like she's what people would call a girl boss, someone who has been at the top of everything that she has done. And again, I think more than anything, this is, we've been talking about what they have been trying to do with the WWE's business for the past couple months here. Obviously going all the way back to the Cameo stuff that we talked about a month ago, to the way that they're handling social media. Of course, WWE has one of the biggest social media presences in the world. But Nardini, she is one of the people who launched a partnership with Penn National Gaming, they're like a casino operator. She, of course, has handled Barstool for pretty much her whole career. She's launched more than 35 brands, from entertainment, sports, female lifestyle, betting, business. She's like developed more than 1,500 social accounts, a top channel in Sirius XM, and the number one selling flavored vodka in North America, Pink Whitney, which makes a lot of sense when we think about the WWE champagne that they put out, that they're planning on putting out, that we talked about 2 weeks ago. So I think this signing is more indicative of what WWE is trying to go forward as a brand going forward. Like this is someone who can help them get to that next level. And looking at her accolades, it's making sense, a lot of the decisions that they've been making for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I would agree. So I looked at her resume as well. I even decided to look at like 5 minutes of an interview with her as well, just because I think she's really more heralded for being like the CEO of Barstool, which is like an insanely white male thing. And just being a female kind of in the charge of it and helping them expand theirs. I was looking at statistics like 8 times, 700% raise in terms of just brand awareness and all this, and partnerships and all this other stuff. And it's 100% clear what they're doing. I think it's interesting when you look at like 20 years ago and stuff like that, when WWE couldn't kind of figure out how to shake the stigma of like, it's pro wrestling. Why are you still watching that? Like, it's pro wrestling. Like, and now it seems like they're being very, they're taking the necessary steps to be like, okay, how can we make our brand more appealing, just kind of wide, even to she's done it with a lot of the 18 to 34-year-olds, which is like Barstool's like key demographic. And she's helped deliver it to people. And I'm assuming she's helping to try to do that again. I think WWE really wants to improve. They want like conglomeracy. They want the world. They want everything. So yeah, she's going to help improve that. I mean, hopefully.
And we're going to talk about the new fold and wrinkle in the whole WWE and the performers' social handles thing in a second. But the moves that they're making remind me of the moves that they made back in 2014, where Vince, it was the big payback. We talked about it last year. The deal with that Fox deal, that Universal deal was the big payback. He was not happy about that TV deal 5 or 6 years ago. He was not happy about that. And I think, and I would surmise that even though he got the $2 billion, he's probably not happy with that either. He probably sees what Disney's doing. He's seeing what other brands like, Sony, that's what they're thinking. They're thinking, like you said, conglomerate. They're thinking of being more than just an entertainment entity. They're thinking of being just a straight entity within all these other companies that are going on. Damn. And I think getting someone who has launched 1,500 successful social platforms is definitely how they raise their cachet to potential buyers. I'm going to put it out right here. I think that they're trying to get themselves in a position where they're going to get bought out in the next 5 years when this deal.
Well, this is interesting, and it's going to cut into our no holds barred thing. We had a discussion sometime last week because you sent me that article about NBC Universal reportedly pivoting from streaming, and Sci-Fi and E may not have longer and things like that and stuff like that. And we had an interesting discussion in terms of where WWE can go on from there. And is WWE in terms of like their TV deal, because their TV deal is coming up in, I think, 4 years?
4 years. Yeah, 4 years as of this week.
So NBC is like pivoting. They want to use Peacock a lot more. I think they're trying to get away from a lot of the TV things, but they're still like a viable sort of damn, I feel like we're talking like a fucking business thing now.
No, it's good. It's good. Because we could be, that is on, that puts us on the cusp of wrestling looking different in 5 years. Us doing this show for almost 3 years, Lord willing, we're going to be around when this deal comes up again. But like when it comes back around, and let's just clear the cards off the table right now. WWE gets bought by Disney. WWE gets bought by Universal. WWE gets bought by, any of these companies because they see that WWE has a foothold in streaming. We need that on Peacock, right? Makes sense. Right. We don't need it on there, but and WWE has their own net. Like what if they buy the network, and you can only get the network through Peacock?
So they're trying to do their best to kind of improve. I won't even say their rate. I guess their what would you call it? Damn, it's slipping my brain now. They're trying their best to kind of improve just their worth in general.
Yes,
in all platforms. Exactly. So when it comes to the next 4 years, 5 years, and we were talking about like even the possibility of Vince McMahon still being there, and we kind of talked a little bit about like why he's so important to still be there as opposed to like stepping down just because he is that face. But they're trying to continue to raise the profile. There we go. The profile of WWE. So when we get to that point in 4 or 5 years, it's going to be, listen, the billions are just going to be there. Like it's not even going to be a question. So this is 100% a step in the right direction, and they're making an investment within themselves to making a bigger investment just in general. So
and they are. Let's be clear. Like they're cracking a lot of eggs to do that right now. Like there's a lot of stuff they're doing right now that might not make sense, but down the line, it's like when you purport. And I said it, I was like, Vince is only still around because if Vince is gone, those stocks drop. The confidence in this company drops if he's not around. But if Vince is setting up for the big buy instead of the big payback, they don't need that. Once Vince gets cashed out and they cop the company, he don't gotta be around no more.
Right.
He can let them do whatever they want to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think this is what it's setting up for. Look at their foothold on Twitter. Look at their foothold on Instagram. WWE has 2 to 3 to 4 different accounts tweeting about their shit every single day. WWE on Fox, WWE NXT, the main WWE channel. They have handles in every single country. Like, and they're all over. They're all over like 20,000 followers. You know what I'm saying? Like they're all successful in their own right. Like this is a company that is. Say what you want about their ratings. They're not. I'm going to write it right now and say it. They don't care about the ratings no more. They got the money. They can't pull out the deal. They're looking at the internet and the social media and the actual content part of what they sell. And if Peacock has old Attitude Era episodes, which is what, and when you look at the Peacock commercials, Meelz, what do they promote? They're not promoting Roman Reigns. They're promoting Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass. They're promoting The Rock.
Promoting The Rock, yeah.
Like, they're not promoting what's going on now because they have the video library. They have ECW, they have WCW, they have all of this stuff, like, and they could have more. Now you're seeing on the network, they have Evolve. Again, this is hypothetical. If Peacock is your one-stop shop for wrestling and they already have 10 million people subscribe to it, that 10 million goes up by 1, 2, 3 million, and that goes up even more by people who want to catch wrestling and catch old wrestling and stuff like that. It's going to be a crazy couple years, and this is just what I'm predicting. We're not saying this is going to happen, but this is, just think about it. Next up, and this is where the eggs are being cracked at. Report came down late last week that WWE was cracking down on the Twitch accounts of all of their talent, basically telling them to shut it down because they're going to be making their own WWE modeled Twitch accounts.
Either shut it down or hand it over.
Yeah, either shut it down or hand it over. In much the same way that was done when Xavier Woods made Up, Up, Down, Down. Because that used to be his, and then he handed it over to WWE to a point where, like, when I was at, like, the 2K event last year, Up, Up, Down, Down had their own crew working. And I was like, wow, this just used to be Xavier Woods' thing. Now they have actual WWE employees working on it. But something in the vein of that, where people like, Paige, Zelina Vega, and countless other people are basically not in control of their Twitch anymore. A lot of people were upset. We still don't really have much clarification from WWE, obviously, because this isn't information that was supposed to get out to other people, but it is. But I don't predict they will say anything about this. I think this goes pretty much hand in hand with their announcement of getting Erica Nardini into the fold, because she's probably going to be helping develop that social presence and those partnerships with Twitch and with Cameo. I think the bigger play here is a WWE Twitch channel, which again raises up their social media and asset and content cachet. But the lower form here is that this Twitch stuff, it kind of directly ties into contracts that will probably be made in the future, where talent will have to be streaming on Twitch, or talent will have to be getting a cut of Twitch revenue, which again muddies things up and kind of muddies up the independent contractor thing.
Yeah, it especially when all the reports are kind of saying it'll be included in their downside guarantee. So kind of everything that they receive from Twitch, which in my opinion, I don't know too much about Twitch statistics. I don't know if it's necessarily a lot. I've seen some of the WWE people on Twitch. They have, don't you get me wrong, they have more subscribers than me, but it's not like they have a shit ton of subscribers, except maybe like Paige or something, who's like legitimately like, yo, just subscribe. Don't even talk to me. Just subscribe. Just, yeah. And I'll send you some merch, or I'll send you some wrestling boots or something. Just subscribe. Like it's crazy. So it's interesting kind of how the way they do it. It's still a little bit of muddy water in terms of the, like I said, independent contractor versus what you can control and what you can't control. If she goes by her real name, is that fine? But you still have to kind of let WWE know. And I'm assuming like if they let them know, it's like, okay, well, it's not in part of your contract. So if WWE starts making bread off social accounts, don't expect to be paid from it, is what I'm assuming is what's going to happen. Yep. It's a muddy water. I think once again, like we just talked about, is WWE improving their profile and their social imprint and kind of everything on the entertainment business. But at the same time, it's like you look at the things that they kind of worry about, which is like how it kind of affects the superstars and how it kind of like trickles down to that fact. It's still kind of unclear, and I'm sure it'll become clear like a year from now. I'm sure we won't be having this discussion. I hope it's just kind of the massive war between WWE, between like, what are we, independent contractors, is this, and like unions and all this other stuff doesn't start over Twitch, out of all things. But we, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I think we're going to see over the next couple of months of kind of how it affects everybody. And I haven't seen anyone kind of step forward from the standpoint of like, yes, we're in approval of this from a superstar standpoint. No one is kind of saying like, yes, this is totally it. Like they sold it to me and I'm buying. So we'll see how it goes. You know? Yeah,
it is odd that this is the straw that breaks the camel's back, even though I'm pretty sure they're on for multiple different people. They have different reasons to be disgruntled. I know that people love, playing video games. Of course, this is a younger roster. They're not sniffing coke and fucking doing steroids anymore. They're doing things that they're interacting with their fans. I will say on one hand, if WWE is going to commodify this, which is what companies do, they're going to make you pay money to see the talent that they put on TV every single week. That's just the way the fucking shit works. That's just the way it is. Like, but I will say that like they need to strictly clarify to these people what is in their contract and what is not, and if they do have the option to do it under their real name. I think that is important. Like if Zelina Vega, and we said this before, like that's characters. I think if Zelina Vega, her real name, what's her name, Thea Trinidad, if she went on and did her own thing, I think people would absolutely follow her there too and follow both. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like we need to know if there's a clear distinction of whether they're able to do it on their own or not. You mentioned you didn't see anyone outwardly say anything. Yesterday, Paige and Zelina actually had a conversation on Twitter where Paige said,
I saw that, yeah. But I mean, outwardly saying it positively because it seems, right.
Yeah,
but they were talking unions. They were talking. I mean, she said, Paige. I saw a tweet from her. She was like, I just started reading a lot about unions and stuff, and I think part of that's like, okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what she was trying to like get out of that. By all means, educate yourself. I'm not sure what she was trying to get out of that. But I think it's just honestly, I think it's for the social media boost and bump. But If this is the straw that breaks the camel's back and not like the years of like concussions and broken things and medical bills and they
cleared all that up. They've cleared that up, but that was from government pressure. The government isn't going to give a fuck about this. What I'm saying? Like, government. like Andrew Yang isn't going to fucking change anything about this. Like, let's be clear. Like he ain't lit. He's not lit either. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not the guy. Like no one take. He's a guy who has businesses as well. Like, get the fuck out of here. So, I mean, again, they need to clarify some things. I would imagine that a lot of the older guys, barring AJ Styles, probably don't give a shit about this. To be clear, like, I'm pretty sure, like, Randy Orton probably don't give a shit because he's able to do whatever the hell he wants to do. But for the other men and women there, I hope something shakes out for them. But again, I think this is more of a WWE trying to get their grasp on every single thing the talents have and have, because essentially think about it, Meelz, they own a roster of cartoon characters.
Right.
And they owned, imagine they're Hasbro and they own G.I. Joe. And you're just Sergeant Slaughter playing the guy on G.I. Joe who used to host. They own the actual properties and the intellectual properties, and that's why they're doing this. And it's been weird because wrestling has always been in that weird middle space. But now you're seeing WWE act as if they're the Mattel, they're the Hasbro, they're the Apple, they're the Marvel. That's where they said, that's where Stephanie said that they wanted to be at is on the Marvel level. So that's what they're acting like now. And I think again, it's very jarring because they've never operated like that before. Now they're operating like an actual cold-hearted business. Yeah,
it's interesting. It's like, where does Ric Flair begin and where does Ric Flair end when it comes to WWE? You know what I'm saying? Right. Where does Ric Flair drip go into WWE's pockets and where does it not? So we'll see kind of how this kind of shakes out in the forthcoming weeks, I guess.
Before we go to break really quick, let's talk about Takeover 31 really, really quick. Now, I don't want to take a lot of shine from Cyrus, who I know will have a blowout episode about NXT Takeover 31 and this week's episode of NXT and AEW Dynamite on the War Report this Friday. But I thought this show was phenomenal. I thought of all the COVID era shows, I thought In Your House was clearly the strongest NXT Takeover of this whole era. But I felt that this one blew it out of the water. I thought this was just from start to finish, just an amazing show.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was, it kind of reminded me of the old Takeover. I've been very, very critical of NXT for a number of weeks, and maybe I'll end up on, now that I'm back, maybe I'll end up on the War Report and sooner than later to kind of talk about it. But and just in terms of their rebuilding process, I think a lot of the transition to USA and then also kind of like the exodus of a lot of their top stars has kind of, hindered their show. But I think they took kind of the best of all of they have right now and they made a really kind of a bang up show. I mean, that main event between Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly, I think is damn near close to an instant classic at this point because it is probably one of the most, in the last 2 years, and I say this in we're past the Gargano Ciampa era of NXT, which thank God we are. I would say that's been the most refreshing and kind of brutal, but also kind of wrestling, and not so much, there's story behind it, but it's not so much dependent on like the story of it. Ultimately, it's like these two gladiators going at it and really beating the hell out of each other. And I thought it was incredible, as well as the undercard as well. I mean, everyone kind of showed out when it came to Takeover 31.
Yeah, I got to say, like, the main event style has changed twice now. So we had the Keith Lee Karrion Kross match, which we thought was really good too. Obviously, still a good match, but the O'Reilly Balor match. Is this Balor's best WWE match? I'd say so.
I'd say so as well, which is weird to think, considering how far he's actually come. But I do think so as well. And I also have comments on Balor as well. But yeah, this is by far his most. I think I don't even know if it's his best, but in this role, in his current role that debuted a year ago, legitimately a year ago, the NXT episode that on USA was 1 year ago. This has been by far the most full as an in-ring performer that he's felt, just in general. The aggression, the kind of the pace, the intensity, kind of everything moving forward. It was incredible.
Yeah, I mentioned this on the Rewriters Room. Check out that episode about Finn Balor if he didn't get injured with Armand and the crew. I mentioned that this time when Finn went to NXT, and I don't think he'll be there super long either. I do think he will get called up eventually, if not this week, but not this week, but I mean eventually. I said that this was a Finn that was in the leadership role that he was not able to be in the first time, whereas he had to be the number one, the blue chipper, the number one draft pick, all that stuff. That wasn't, the more I think about it, that might not have been the right role for him, where, and that might have given us, that might have given us and it could have been the right role maybe, but he got injured, what I'm saying? And then that blew up so much stuff for him. But I feel like this Finn is the one that is getting these guys ready to go up and to not fall into the same, traps that he fell into in the main roster. Like, I feel like for him, the first time was, oh my God, can we push an NXT star and can they make it? And then he got injured, and then they kind of fell back, Meelz. They were just kind of like, we don't know. Whenever we call him up, we don't know if we want to really push him not strong anymore. They might get injured. Mm-hmm. But now Finn is in a role of advocacy where he gets called. If he gets called up again, he can say, you know what, bring Kyle with me. Bring, if he's not up there already, bring Cameron Grimes with me, bring Damian Priest with me, because he's worked with all these guys. Bring Thatcher with me. He's worked with so many freaking styles this year. Keith Lee, Adam Cole, Gargano, Riddle. He's worked with so many styles that it was just like, oh my God, it's refreshing, because you could say like he worked with Baron Corbin too much, but then he worked with Damian Priest. And that was a completely different match than what we got when he was on the main roster. Like, he is showing us now what all the hype was about. and I think I absolutely agree. This is his best role since he's been in the company, really. Like, I got to say, like, really amazing stuff there. What do you feel about Kushida and Velveteen Dream? Was that a write-off for him, or was that something like, yo, you have fucked up too much. This is how we're going to treat you. This guy got his ass beat for at least 98% of that match and still lost.
Yeah, I think this is more so I wouldn't say it's a write-off. It's definitely a lot more of a you're kind of you have to. Yeah, you're pretty much doghouse. Like, you're gonna eat shit until you like it, type of thing. That Triple H kind of went through, trial by fire, I guess. And we'll see how he comes out the other side, because I think in an interview sometime earlier this week, I guess he was talking with press. Triple H is saying, like, Velveteen, his personal things is definitely like affecting how he's being perceived, and it's not even just affecting that, but in terms of just like kind of his professional life and personal life, his personal life and his immaturity within his personal life is now affecting his professional life. And I think that's what kind of we saw there, is him kind of getting, put in the doghouse, and it'll be interesting to see how he kind of comes out from the other side, especially given everything that's kind of gone on.
I don't know how they reconcile this, Meelz. I really don't, other than having him go away for a really long time. I really do not know how they reconcile this. This is, and I think it's amplified even more with what's going on just in the world, period. Speaking out movement, literally people just, being in dire straits right now. Like this is, the role of abusers and bringing them to justice is now a bigger, a bigger conversation. Because at this point, Meelz, Enzo was fired for literally just the allegation. You know what I mean? Right. And not telling them that he had what was going on. At this point, I don't know, and I'm not going to say like what is Velveteen Dream worth, because we can't judge what Velveteen Dream is worth to those people. We don't know, because we could be asking the same thing of like Otis, or we could be asking the same thing of like whose worth is worth more. You know what I'm saying? It depends on who's running the show. I can't say what his worth is. I know he doesn't have great matches. I know that during this fucking match that he had with Kushida, it was Kushida doing 100% of the work. And him just kind of bumping around. But I do know that like he does need to either go away or they need to say a statement. We're far past the point of them saying what happened, but we are definitely at the point where they need to actually enact some actual rules. Is he going to classes? Is he going to therapy to figure out these issues? Like what is going on? That is a different.
How are we proactively addressing the concern that people generally do have, considering, this is a business. There are the children who are fans of it. Yeah, stuff like that. How are we addressing this? I thought, we saw a statement just recently, and I'll touch on this very quickly so we can head into break. But there was a statement over the week by former WWE superstar Jack Gallagher. And I thought, as bad as what he did and as the things that he did, I mean, the level of accountability and the level of I'm trying and him kind of taking the step back. He didn't say like, oh, I'm jumping in and address these allegations and kind of like taking away the conversation from those victims. He said, I purposely stayed out of that conversation so they could be more shine on the speaking out thing. And he kind of addressed what went on during that time. And he says that he's the one who approached, the vice president of talent relations about this, and he knew that he would kind of be released from this, and he just that's kind of how it went. I thought there was a level of accountability that we don't see with a lot of people who are accused of anything. I mean, in anything, in terms of whether it's WWE, whether it's Velveteen Dream, whether it's Tory Lanez, whether it's anybody who's accused of any sort of wrongdoing, it's a level of accountability that we a lot of times don't reach. And I want to just briefly, as much as I can, applaud him for that, because I do think that there's a sense of humility that comes along with kind of addressing that and saying that you did wrong and all this other stuff like that is
the Dream just didn't do and hasn't done. Yeah, and I know they let Triple H speak as a proxy through him, which ends up with Triple H having his foot in his mouth more often than not. And I wish they would literally stop having him speak on this issue. I'm being very serious. Like he just does not make it better. But I think they need to be showing some type of rehabilitation or something like that. Take him off TV. I think if this was the moment where he's taken off TV, we need to know what's going on. And at first I was kind of like, I don't know, but now it's too loud to ignore. It's way too loud to ignore.
Too loud.
We're gonna leave the rest of Takeover 31 to Cyrus on the War Report. We thought it was an amazing show. Definitely check out the War Report on Friday. And after break, we're gonna talk about SmackDown and Raw laying a stinky egg, and we're gonna get into our draft thoughts before next week. So stay tuned on the A Show. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and right now you're checking out the A Show on RNC Radio. You want to know why it's called the A Show? Hell, son, you tell me who else is going to remember me and Farouk getting our asses kicked by Skip and Zip at a 1996 Superstars taping. I'll tell you who, Justin Davis and Jamil Rayburn, that's who. So I'm going to take a swig of beer for the working man and kick back down here at the Broken Skull Ranch in South Texas and pop on the best damn podcast for a sumbitch like me, the A Show on RNC Radio.
And we are back, and we are here to kind of go over kind of everything that's going on in WWE this week. And we have to start off with SmackDown last week. Boy, you had some thoughts about this. I'm gonna start off with this because you had some general thoughts about it that actually opposed mine. Who knew? Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso has been confirmed for Hell in a Cell. It'll be the official rematch between these two since their Clash of Champion encounter. I didn't get to talk about their Clash of Champion encounter, but I thought it was exactly what the doctor needed in terms of establishing Reign as this terrorizing heel that's going to dominate the brand and to break ties with his family is certainly the most certainly the strongest way to get that across. But we're getting the rematch. So let's talk about this. How do you feel? Tell me about your thoughts about part 2 of this feud that we're going to see heading into Hell in a Cell. I'm
okay. I don't hate it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think people took it as like I was saying I hate this and everything about this and I will not watch it. Like, obviously I'm going to watch it. I think Roman is the strongest part of the company right now. But I think that in the Clash of Champions match, I felt as though you did everything that you could do with that. I thought it was emotional. I thought it was, I don't know what more. Okay, I mean, let's just be clear. We know the outcome. I don't know how much more of like. I feel like the WWE tends to do this thing where they drag things out. When you could literally just do it once and you'd be fine. But they're dragging this out.
We're going to talk about Monday Night Raw pretty soon. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're dragging this out another 4 weeks, and for what? Like, I'm not saying that. I mean, it's pretty clear, and I think I tweeted this. Like, Roman has a no Fiend clause in his contract. It looks pretty clear. They're steering clear of the Roman Fiend thing. We're not going to get that at all.
Well, I think it's, and I'll say the reason why we're probably not getting Fiend right now is because I'm beginning to think the Fiend may not be on SmackDown for that much longer. But I guess we'll talk about that in a little bit concerning the draft. But that's what I think is going to happen. And they didn't want to kind of do a thing like they did last year where, and it was funny that on Twitter we kind of talked about it in terms of that moment last year with the whole Seth versus Bray Wyatt thing. Where they kind of moved Bray Wyatt over to SmackDown, but then have him win the Universal Championship while he was still in this Raw program and all this other stuff is muddying a lot of the waters. So I think that may be the reason why they're continuing with this feud. But also it's like, WWE loves to drive this point home, like, and stick it home and then make sure and like ram it down your throat that like, yes, this is a terrible thing. But
and I get it.
It's a story.
I get it. He's a bad guy. I get it. I think everyone gets it. He's a bad guy. He's not a good guy anymore. They even have the Thunderdome piped in crowd noise as boos now. He's a heel. I don't know what more he could do from punishing Jey Uso. I don't know what is the purpose of like, and trust me, I know AJ isn't hurt from this, but having Jey pin AJ, having Jey pin Riddle, having Jey pin a lot of the other guys coming up, like if they're going to knock him right back down to the upper mid, what's the point? Like if he's not going to get a singles title, what's the point? I think that obviously, Roman seems to have a lot of creative control over this, so I'm pretty sure this is probably his idea too. But I feel like in a Hell in a Cell match with them, 20-something more minutes, that match went about, 28 minutes at Clash of Champions? It was a really long match.
I don't know, but I agree. It was a long, it seemed like a clubbering type of match. I don't know how long it actually went, but it felt long just by the beatdown that it was. But I think if I'm looking at this, I think, am I wrong to say you're looking at it from the standpoint of like, okay, what do we need to continue to do with Jey Uso?
Right. Absolutely.
When we should be doing something else of any note importance, do we really need to invest the time and the story in Jey Uso unless something is happening later on the line, which I can see from your standpoint of like, okay, but if they're doing, I don't know if they're doing something long term with Jey Uso. He got to win over AJ Styles on SmackDown, so obviously they're keeping him strong. But I think they seem to be a lot more enamored with the story and kind of telling the story. And I think when we get to Survivor Series, hopefully it's not another Uso match at Survivor Series. But hopefully it's the Raw versus SmackDown thing, which I'm always a proponent of. But
and maybe and just maybe they're prolonging it another month because we're getting new people coming to SmackDown. And maybe that's it.
So that could be it as well. I think it's it's part of the story. I don't think it's a necessarily bad story. I'm not going to say it because on other shows there are terrible stories that have been going on for far too long, and this one still seems relatively fresh. So I'm not completely against it. I'm kind of interested to see if Jey Uso steps up to the plate. I'm kind of more interested in see what this does for Jey Uso's career. They recently had a career where it was just a tag team thing, and I think they were both completely content and fine. I'm talking about Jimmy and Jey with being a tag team. But does this open the door for a singles run, or does it open an opportunity to kind of be looked at from a different perspective? So we'll see how that goes. I completely see how you feel in terms of the part 2 of this program, but speaking of the Fiend and Alexa Bliss's alliance, I don't know if to say that they're in an entanglement. I don't know if they are in a relationship. I don't know necessarily what it is.
Bray don't need no more entanglements. Bray does not need any more entanglements.
Listen, there's plenty ponies in the world to grab Alexa Bliss away from On the Way Down's Ryan Cabrera, if I would say so, which is I'll be honest, one of my favorite songs ever. This is On the Way Down, one of my I promise you, it's one of my favorite songs ever.
Playlist Meelz is here.
It is 100% on that. The Fiend and Alexa Bliss alliance has started to take shape. What does this mean for the Fiend, and what does it mean for Alexa Bliss, and what does this kind of mean? Are you interested in this? Do you like this? I personally, it's something different, which I think the mileage on the Fiend ran out in like January.
Yeah. What a year it has been for the Fiend, right? Debuted last August against Seth Rollins, or not Seth Rollins, debuted against Finn Balor. I'm sorry, pardon me. Sent him out the territory. We love that, right? That was one of the most standout moments from the show.
Yeah.
Then started to beat up on Legends, which we were cool with. Then we get to literally a year ago, today as we record this, Hell in a Cell against Seth Rollins, in a moment that I think, regardless of what WWE's doing behind the scenes with what they're doing with stocks and what they're doing, as far as moving things around and trying to get a bigger position in the multimedia game, this is the moment to me that changed perceptions for WWE in a way that we have not seen since maybe Austin left, since maybe this is just a moment where a lot of people threw their hands up. And he was at the focal point of this. And in the year that he has been active, I can't say that he's had many excellent or great matches. He's had one against Daniel Bryan. He had a better match, quote unquote, with Seth Rollins in Saudi Arabia when he won the title. He lost to Goldberg in like a minute.
The first Braun and Bray match that wasn't too bad. They surprised us.
It wasn't bad. It ended up being a slugger, and that's because Bray, and that's credit to Bray, who is not Bray, Braun, who isn't terrible, but again, it depends on who he's working with. With Bray, I don't know anyone besides Daniel Bryan who he actually is good at working with. It's just never, it has not clicked. So I almost feel like, forgive me for saying this, maybe we just don't need Bray Wyatt in the ring. Maybe we just need him to be like a part of the show without actually doing anything of importance, like the boogeyman, if you will.
Nah, no way. I think that would kill his character. There's a part of it where you need to, ultimately it has to culminate to something, and it has to be a wrrestling match. Someone who is just but it's coming into a wrestling match. I don't know. But ultimately, even if you talk about these valets and managers and all this other stuff, everyone gets into the ring. Vicky Guerrero got into the ring. Everything has to culminate to a match at some point, because people either need to get their revenge or people need to get their comeuppance or something along those lines. I think this Fiend and Alexa Bliss thing, I think it's 100% a new wrinkle to his character. I think this is a new vessel for him to sort of reinvent his character a little bit, because I do think that it was, like I said, the wheels fell off in like January. Like it was done when he lost the championship to Goldberg, or February, or wherever the hell that happened. But I don't know where they go from here. I can't see Roman in the conversation now, because it seems like they're both still heels. So I'm going to assume they're going to go. My guess is they're going to Monday Night Raw. And I know we'll do a whole draft thing pretty soon, but my guess is they're going to go to Monday Night Raw and do some things over there. But
it's a really muddy Alistair, Fiend, Kevin Owens, Alexa thing going on that before I can judge this properly, I need a little bit more. There isn't enough for me to go on off of this, because Kevin Owens isn't a heel either. And I just think it would be so terrible if they turned him again. He's been heel for like his whole career. They'll be so mad if they turn.
He's actually a redeeming fate. Like, he's a good guy. Like, did you see the post on Twitter about the cat?
Yeah, I saw the post. I thought it was a really cute post. I think Kevin Owens' social media presence is really, like, again, like you said, very redeeming. It is really cool, and he seems really down to earth. And even on promos and on TV, he's really down to earth. I just don't want him to go back to being a heel. Like, I thought that, you know, the Fiend turns anyone he faces into heel face thing. That was cool, but don't touch Kevin Owens. He's one of the good ones.
Yeah, I don't think we need to at this point. But you know, we'll see how this fares. It is a very interesting Friday night that we've got. I'm gonna actually, you know what? Let's run through, because we actually have a big Friday night on SmackDown. We can kind of preview it a little bit. But the next topic that we had up was Carmella's official reveal of the gimmick gets a lot of flack, because, in my opinion, why?
Who really cares like that much to be that mad about this gimmick?
I don't think they're mad, but I think no one's mad. No one's like, oh my God, I can't believe they wasted so much of our time. But it's like, really? Kind of like, and then kind of like, all right, I don't want to be too, you know, I want to be super messy Meelz here. You know what I'm saying?
Here we go.
But her
your
hair.
Your brother's Sunflower. You can't do this anymore.
Well, this is true. I don't know. The hair wasn't working for me. The hair just wasn't working for me. I just didn't like it. I thought too close to Charlotte, but also not as good as Charlotte's hair. But, you know, a lot of it didn't work for me. But I don't want to be the person who gets overly critical of a gimmick that we haven't even really seen in person yet. Like, we don't know how it goes. We don't know where it goes. She's just been in the mirror for so long. We saw how Liv was when her promo vignettes were happening, and then she kind of shows up and immediately drops whatever the hell was happening 2 weeks later. So we have no idea, but Carmella's back on SmackDown. SmackDown needs women unless they don't, because draft is coming up, so we'll see how it goes. This Friday, we've got a lot of matches coming.
Yeah.
We have got, first of all, actually, it's a stacked Friday. I believe Kevin Owens and Fiend happening on this Friday show?
Yes, it is. Fiend's first TV match ever.
Listen, come on, man. The marquee, similar to Brock, almost, but not really. The Fiend's first match on televised SmackDown on Friday versus Kevin Owens, so that should be very interesting. We have also got Big E versus Sheamus, Falls Count Anywhere in the Thunderdome. So that's a feud that's been culminating for quite some time that we're going to see either blown off or just blown up or wherever the hell it's going to go at this point. Falls Count Anywhere kind of seems, I don't want to say fatal, but like
it's a nice send off to the Thunderdome, which they have to leave at the end of the month, I think. Oh
yeah, this is very true. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they renew the lease. There's nothing really going on anyway, unless there is. Otis, Court, Miz, Morrison, Friday.
I'm skipping that. I'm skipping that. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that storyline, bro.
Yeah, 100%. But I guess more so the main event, the main attraction of all of this is, and possibly the most surprising thing, and blew away all, unless you're Chris Novak, where he predicted it accurately because he's just Bayleyologist. Sasha Banks versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship will be happening this Friday on SmackDown, not at Hell in a Cell like we previously thought, or maybe it does happen at Hell in a Cell, but we're getting the first match of this feud on SmackDown. What do we think? Where does it go?
I think it goes to a no contest. It would be. Here's my thing with this. One of them has to leave.
Yeah.
One of them has to go. I really do not think that the WrestleMania storyline is in play here. I think that the one that will probably leave is Bayley. I think she will definitely go to Raw. But the thing about it is that Bayley going to Raw is that, like, she'd be going as a heel, which would put her right in the sight lines of either Asuka or maybe Bianca Belair.
Oh, you know it's Asuka. Listen, Raw plays nothing but the hits, so you know it's Asuka.
it's going to be Bayley and Asuka for another 7 months. So, or maybe it should be Sasha, who is now probably going to be a full face at that point, hopefully going back to Raw where it all started. I don't know, but I do know that matches are going to have a finish. And I do know that, I know people will be very pissed off if, let's say, Bayley wins the match at Hell in a Cell, if that happens, and then Sasha gets sent off, or because again, it's weird because again, draft season always contradicts a pay-per-view. So you'll have people that are not on the same show facing each other again, and I think that's definitely going to happen with this match. I think they're going to split these two up.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think, and then we'll make our bigger picks down the line. But yeah, I do think that these two will be split up. I can't see them anchoring a division for another 6 months together. I think it's a major hindrance to the development and the progression of the women's division on either show if they're still continue there. They've made history. They've done all they can together. I think we've reached the extent of it. Will they have more matches in the future? I'm almost sure of it. Do we need the 5-star NXT Brooklyn match? Nah, we don't. No. Let's just kind of let it happen. Let's get it over, because it's not living up to that ever again. I think the moments that they created in NXT, and you know what? I could be wrong. I could 100% be wrong, because these women are just kind of on another level from where they was on NXT, but kind of the whole story and the feeling behind that sort of match and the build up to it has just been completely different. But do they need to have that match again? Not really. If it happens, I'm all for it, but they don't really need to have that match again. I think we need to settle this and get out of this pretty soon. But Friday Night SmackDown looks like a banger. Let's head over to Raw, my friend. Tell me about Monday Night Raw.
Yes. Not my favorite Raw of the year. Not touching the Retribution debut episode, though. This is what we measure all Raws against now. It was just a boring show. I think
it was pretty bad.
This episode of Raw would have been. Well, here's the thing. It was a boring show that had really cool parts in it. I think really cool parts.
You're going to have cool parts in the show. You're going to have cool parts. I think generally for this felt like a go home show, but it was like, what are you going home for?
It also felt like the last time we're going to be seeing a lot of these people on Monday. So
I mean, it could be. It could be.
First off, we have the confirmation between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. They will meet in the Hell in a Cell for the WWE title. Will the third time be a charm for Randy Orton? What do you think, Meelz?
No. God, no. God, no. Here's the thing. This isn't, I'm not even going to put any draft implications on this. Keep Randy Orton as far away from SmackDown as humanly possible, in my opinion. But Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, I'm expecting a great match. But I am not expecting a win for Randy Orton in this thing. I'm expecting to continue to solidify the legend that is Drew McIntyre and continue to have him mow over. This is his biggest feud yet. This is his strongest feud yet. This is his most defining feud as thus far. Why ruin that by making him lose? I can't see it. I love the Hell in a Cell match. I think these two are going to do great. I think Drew McIntyre is going to get his ass kicked. I think Randy Orton's going to get his ass kicked. But yeah, let's end it there. Let's end it now. I would rather end it now, but
let's normalize month-long Randy Orton feuds. Let's normalize that. I agree. I think it's going to be a banger. Drew hasn't missed, man. I think even with the ambulance match, we were kind of like, and they ended up being really enjoyable. So Drew hasn't missed. I think he's definitely in the top 5 or at least top 3 of my favorite wrestlers of the year. So I think this will be another banger for him. I think this is his first Hell in a Cell match also. So we get to see him in uncharted territory. I think it is. Next up, the Murphy Rollins Mysterio Family saga continues. We are going on 8 months almost of this. It was a point where I saw when Murphy and Seth were going down to the ring, and I was like, who are they facing? Because I was like, there are no tag teams on the show. The Viking Raiders are gone. The Street Profits are in the main event. I was like, there's no one that they could face. And Rey Mysterio seems to be like not wrestling just to kind of, put the storyline over. And then Humberto and Dominic Mysterio came out, and I said, all right, bro, I'm skipping this. I skipped the whole match, bro. I can't do it no more. I cannot do it with these people. I cannot.
That was me during the Hurt Business match, where I legitimately felt like they were insulting my time. and energy and things that I have to do in the day by putting me in the 15th or 16th or whatever televised match that Apollo Crews is having against the Hurt Business. Raw is in this constant cycle of having the same match over. It stinks. It's bad. I stayed for this match because of all the implications surrounding it.
Were there anyone on the show? Because Retribution was on the show this week, so the COVID vacation's over for them. Keith Lee was on the show. There was no COVID vacation for him. He actually
Raw Underground still not back.
Raw Underground still not back. So that's probably all them people that had that vacation. Is Raw so low on people that they have to do this? Are they that low on
to
Raw?
Fill a 3-hour show, they might. Yeah, they might be.
No way.
To fill a 3-hour show.
Everyone is back.
They don't have the star power on Monday Night Raw. They lost Becky and Charlotte, which is a monumental. I think those two are major losses for the overall star power of the brand. We experienced from last year around Hell in a Cell and all the angst between that Seth Rollins, as good as he is not the show's anchor. He is not the main attraction for the show.
You're right, bro. They really don't.
They have Drew, who's proven himself in real time. They have Randy Orton, who is kind of working at his best speed in real time. But they don't really have kind of anything else. Like once Roman Reigns returned on SmackDown, the entire mood just changed. The energy was different.
But you know what's funny? When I look at this roster list, everyone is being used. Everyone is being used. Right down to Shane McMahon being on the show. I didn't even know he got moved over to Raw. Ruby Riott.
Drew Gulak is on the show, and he's not even on the show. Like Drew Gulak is just, I guess he's Raw Jace now. I don't know.
Everyone was here. Everyone was like, damn near everyone was present except for the people that we knew were injured. Jason Jordan strangely being on the roster as well.
Well, the Billy Kays and the Peyton Royces of the world, unfortunately. I mean,
I think they're setting them up for a move, so I wouldn't put them on the show either.
Why is Jason Jordan still on the Monday Night Raw roster? What does he have?
I have no clue. I think you know what needs to happen. These rosters need to get shaken up, my pals.
Oh yeah,
these rosters need to shake up, my pal. This is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, look at this. He's injured. He said he had a torn ACL. He's been working on.
He said he was working with the torn ACL, which is like, damn. Shot to Tegan.
Slamming people on Raw Underground with the torn ACL. You're a wild man.
He is a wild man, 100%.
So the storyline continued. I'm sorry, we derailed right there, but the storyline continued. We got to more of Aaliyah protecting Buddy. Buddy finally snapping on Seth. Seth looking at the carnage that he has wrought after beating up Murphy, who looked like a complete goof for putting his guard down against Seth, which is like, why would you even do that?
This is a very 90s family ABC, experience type of storyline. I haven't been here to talk about this storyline for the past couple of weeks, but it is, I'll be honest, I'm intrigued. I'm interested to see where this love story between Aaliyah and Murphy.
Is it love?
It might be. It's growing into something. I think right now it's in the phase of where they really just appreciate each other, and she cares for him, or at least she's not an ass. Yeah, you saw the text. They talking.
They just talking right now.
They just talking. Now he's in the phase. I mean, this is let me pull out the cuffing season calendar. But now he's in the phase. He's probably sending a couple emojis now. He's probably, the LOLs are turning to LMAOs, very in caps lock. It's a
lot of O's. LMAO.
Yeah, a little. A lot of O's. They might send a little gift from here and there, but we'll see how it goes. I think this is evolving. This looks like a long-term Bruce Pritchard.
Don't say long-term. It was long-term in May.
No, this is a new long-term. Now the love story is long-term. This is a Bruce Pritchard joint, if you're asking me. If I had to say,
you'd have to imagine that if what we know is true, Becky's due around end of November, December. So yeah. The Seth write-off is coming.
Yes.
It's going to be between 4 of the 5 people that he has only faced or seen or talked to in the past. Like, it's almost like Seth lives in his own world and he does not even talk to anyone else on the Raw roster except these people.
Of course not. That's how Raw operates.
Does it end with Ray? Does it end with Ray and the family sending him, and Buddy sending him out to pasture, or?
Yes, I believe wholeheartedly that's how it ends. And Murphy now has a new attraction towards him now that he's paired with Aaliyah, who seems to be a character that is blossoming on Raw that people are, getting to know.
How do you feel about her acting? It feels supernatural.
So there's times where it does, and there's times where it feels very high school-esque. Very, but she's doing all right. She's doing way better than anyone expected. We've seen Eva Marie, who's trained for wrestling, who has had classes with Dusty Rhodes, I assume, and just we've watched Dana Brooke for years just be a robot.
Okay, we're being too great. We got to get through Raw so we can get to the draft predictions. Women's tag team match. It was basically a prolonged squash.
Yeah, I liked it though. I like Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. This is the best use of. I'll say this is the best use of Nia Jax. I'm not going to say this is the best use of Shayna Baszler, but this is. I think Shayna Baszler, just next to anyone, she has a presence about her, right? Like even when you put her next to something. They're immediately able to play off of her. She has, believe it or not, a character and a presence. So good for her. This is just expanding her palette, in my opinion. But yes, they beat the dog shit out of Liv and Ruby on Raw.
Take on a SmackDown, please. The biggest thing that happened on the show was, again, another long-term storyline, getting another wrinkle to it, as Ali, who showed up on TV for the first time in months last week, was revealed to be the leader of Retribution this week.
All right, so let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this. Do you think this was always the plan?
No. No. That's why I said what I said just now. Absolutely not. I think what happened was either someone caught the vid, or they ever since the other week when the 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that episode of Raw they got panned universally came out. They've been scrambling to find the actual leader, and they did one of their day of rewrites and said, "Okay, fuck it, Ali." I think that's exactly because even the setup to it made no sense. Why would he even have been out there with Apollo and Ricochet if he knew this? Why? For months they've been getting their asses beat in front of Retribution, and they've done nothing.
Well, last week, Mustafa Ali did come out of the Hurt Business.
Yeah.
And then, listen, did you see my tweet of how I'm booking in 4D now?
No.
So this was, I'm booking in 4D now. So I'm going to say this was a long time story. This is not true. Please don't take this as seriousness. This is all satire.
I'm taking it serious. The narrative has already started. Go ahead.
So I'm saying this started 2 years ago where Mustafa Ali was kicked out of that Elimination Chamber match for Kofi Kingston. And then it bleeds over into the hacker gimmick, which Ali was supposed to be the hacker. And the only person who could hack Monday Night Raw with all his hacking powers would be Mustafa Ali, who's cutting off the lights, who's getting people in, and was doing all this other stuff like that. They had a mole. Retribution is somehow able to get in every week until they actually sign deals, which made no sense. But Slapjack and Sawdust, or whatever the hell their names are. But it was building up to that point. I think we're getting Mustafa Ali, the Retribution. They might beat down New Day. Who knows? This is just my plan in the future. Pie in the sky booking. But no, I don't think I don't actually think this was a long-term thing. I really do think it was like cut and paste. But I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at all. This is Ali's time. Ali has been wanting the opportunity. Ali has been wanting to shine. This is by far, as of right now, the highest ceiling that he could reach in WWE. Mm-hmm. This is it. I don't think it's going to get any higher than this unless he somehow wows us and blows us away. This is it for Ali. If this does not work, which there's a lot of reasons why this could not work. One of the people named is Slapjack. There's a lot of reasons why. They don't even look, their outfits don't even look expensive. Like they just look.
I think the next step for this is for them to take off the fucking masks and actually get their names back. I think that's what he should do. Like, stop the this is my corporate name bullshit. Like, give them their names back. I think we'll take them a lot more serious. We can forgive the other shit. I can forgive the other stuff if they just take the masks off at this point. I think the only thing
give them their names back.
Give them their names back, and I think the only thing that I question is like, will Ali wrestle less or will he wrestle more? Because he's already what 4-6 deep now including the women.
Listen, he's about to be the Indian Seth Rollins right now, and he just looks the part. Like he is about to be so in his gimmick. You were saying he should take off the gimp mask. I find that I love the mask, so screw it.
Well, you know what's funny? The mask that T-Bar wears looks like the Ali mask.
Listen, we put the pieces together.
So again, like, you know, there are things that they could use if they choose to. I don't have any faith that they're going to do it, but I think Ali should definitely fight for some type of connective tissue in the storyline. Like, I don't know where this goes next. I literally don't even know where this goes next.
I have no idea where this goes. I'm not even going to ask. I'm not even going to pretend like I know where this goes. They seem to be flying by the seat of their pants. This has by far been the most interesting wrinkle to Retribution, period.
Yeah.
So
shout out to Ali, man, fuck all that. Shout out to Ali, man.
Shout out to Ali.
I want him on TV. There you go. He's on TV now.
There you go.
He's on TV now. Let's see. Let's make sure they don't make them look like geeks now that he's with them. Because I think that like it's a very cool thing to have a leader of a faction be considerably shorter than everybody in it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Napoleon complex to the 10th maximum. I'm 100% for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird
because they look like goons. Dominic Dijakovic ain't no damn leader. He's a goon. They're all like Ninja Turtle-esque, Street Shark-esque goons. They're not like actual thing. They're like Goldar and like fucking and the goat that's in Power Rangers and Rita Repulsa and all this other stuff like that. They're not actual people.
I thought you were gonna be like they're Birder and
please no, I'm not gonna say that, but I could have, but no, I'm not gonna say that. I hope they don't at me in this. I hope they don't respond to my tweets and flame me because they've been roasting everybody's ass on Twitter.
Oh, if your ass gets flamed, I'm reading the tweet every single second on the show if they flame your ass. And they're cussing on there, cussing up a storm on Twitter. I was like, boy, y'all taking that. They're gonna take your account. You better back up. Okay, before we get out of here.
Yeah, let's wrap up because something is dying. And I just heard a bloop bloop in my ear.
Oh boy. We got to talk about the draft. It is on Friday. I know this is, we didn't really do a proper draft show because we don't know what the fuck's going to happen. We don't even know if NXT is going to be involved in it.
Yeah. We're just happy it's happening on the schedule that we love. It didn't happen on Monday, Friday. It's happening on Friday, Monday. So shout out to
listen, Vince knows where his bread is buttered, and that is on Fridays. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who are our top? Let's just make it easy. I'll just say, who are your top 5 moves? Top 5 superstars that will move into what brand?
Okay, I'm going to go with. All right, I'm looking at. Geez, I gotta pick 5 of them. Okay, let's no. Let's not do that. Let's see. All right, from Raw, I fully see. I'm 100% expecting. God. From Raw to SmackDown, I could see. Yo, these guys have been such a fixture on Monday Night Raw. It doesn't even seem plausible. Yeah. Kevin Owens is going to SmackDown.
Again with Sammy? No.
Yeah, Kevin Owens is going to SmackDown. Listen.
Sammy's doing so good without him.
Kevin Owens is just the way they've been using him. They've just been utilizing him as like a They threw him on SmackDown for no particular reason, just to have the show because they trust him so much. He is someone who's, I think, is a piece that you could just move around anywhere. Like it doesn't even matter. I think Apollo Crews is moving to SmackDown.
Yes.
I think instead of having him get beat up every week, then it's just going to be Ricochet on Raw by his lonesome, and that's when Ricochet will shine. So let's get Apollo Crews out of that picture. Let's see. Who else did I got? Who's on Monday Night Raw? Do I want to pick one of the Billy or Payne? One of them. Just it don't even matter.
Payne staying on Raw, I would say.
Payne staying on Raw? Okay. Billy's to SmackDown. Let's see. I hope they don't do that thing. Remember those old drafts where they do the like they have the little spinning superstar thing?
Yeah.
And we're like ding ding John Cena to SmackDown.
Making it seem like random, which is not how a draft is. I'm so glad they did it last year the way that they did, because I'm like, a draft is not a random select. It is you're picking.
It is not at all. Fuck, I don't know anymore. Who do you got? Moving from Raw to SmackDown? Let's talk about it.
Let me see. I got R-Truth going to SmackDown with the 24/7 title.
Okay. Listen, a new array of challengers. Listen, he's ran away from everybody on Monday Night Raw, and actually, no one else wants the championship over there. Clearly,
at all. I think AJ Styles will go to Raw. That's 2.
Ooh.
Controversial pick is that I do think I think Velveteen Dream is probably going to get called up.
They haven't incorporated NXT into this thing, so I'm very.
But that doesn't mean they can't just call them up, because they do that often.
You're right. I'm very hesitant to say anything NXT, but it would be a pleasant surprise if they move one of them to another show. I'm going to say, wow, why do they still have Mickie James? They have Mickie James on SmackDown on the app. So, there
you go.
Who knows? Mickie James to SmackDown. I think they also still have Mustafa Ali on SmackDown on the app. So clearly they have not updated the app when it comes to the rosters, except Roman Reigns, who has the Universal Championship very proud and mightily. Yes.
I think Riddle probably still on SmackDown. There's much for him to do there since he's been called up.
I would love for them to split up Cesaro and Shinsuke so one of them could head to another roster, but they're not going to do that. I do think Sheamus is going to Raw. I think Sheamus is a future matchup for Drew McIntyre.
Absolutely.
I think
that's what they want.
Sheamus. Yeah, I think Sheamus. I think Strowman. Strowman is just done on SmackDown. He just is.
I think Alistair and Zelina go to SmackDown also.
Yeah. Just judging from how they got really kind of, I wouldn't say written off, but they've been definitely kicked off the damn show. I know Zelina has something like that. I was going to ask, I was like, I think Andrade was barring up Zelina last week in the ring. That was very awkward. Let's see who else. Who can I see?
Alexa Bliss is going back to Raw, and I do agree. I think just Bray Wyatt will probably follow her.
Yeah, I think Bray Wyatt will follow her. Let's see if
my thing is this. Stop giving Bray Wyatt main titles, the main event titles.
No, they will not. They will not.
Stop doing it.
As long as Bruce Pritchard is in charge of the show, they will 100% not do that. Who else could I see? Elias to Raw, just for shits and giggles.
I forgot he was even around. Is he due to come back?
No, one day. I got to keep King Corbin on SmackDown. Do you like King Corbin on SmackDown? Do you like the vibe of it?
If he goes to Raw, then he needs to not be the king anymore.
No, he's definitely staying on SmackDown then. That's his thing. All right. So wait. Okay. All right.
But do you think we've improved the shows even with these predictions? I don't know if we've even improved the shows. I think you need more people from NXT coming up into these shows. Like, I know we're hesitant about it.
Yeah, but then you shit on NXT becomes a fucking
no. If you move Ciampa, Gargano, Dream, LeRae, Mia's already gone. Mercedes is already gone. The women's division, let's be clear, after what we saw on TakeOver, the women's division is going to be A-okay for another year.
Well, all right. So who from on any roster would you move to improve the women's division on either show? It would have to be either Bayley or Sasha, right?
Yes. I'd say take Sasha back to Raw, leave Bayley on SmackDown, move Candice.
I would maybe move – I might move Charlotte too.
Oh, the SmackDown?
But if you move in Charlotte, you're moving Andrade.
You know the thing that's wild about Charlotte is that she's been on all 3 shows, meaning that she's effectively faced everyone almost.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what to do with her anymore.
Just put on SmackDown. Fox. It's Fox now. It's
she runs headfirst into Bayley again.
I'm sure that'll happen. I'm 100% sure that'll happen. No matter where she's either running into Sasha or she's running into Bayley. So I'm sure that'll happen. Damn, I don't see much else. To be honest with you, they have got such a cycle on this show that no one of any major consequence to this like there are people on Raw who are not moving. Yeah. Like Mysterio, Rollins.
Well, Rollins is on the way out anyway, so he can show up. They're not moving.
He's not moving, but he's not moving. They've got him trapped in this vortex of this program. He's not moving at all. They need tough people for Raw Underground, so I don't know who else they could get, but
Riddle, Riddle to Raw might be a big move for Riddle because like you mentioned Underground, he would be a fixture on that show because he doesn't do anything most weeks on Raw or on SmackDown.
But Raw Underground hasn't established anything. I would feel bad for him on Raw Underground because there's no definitive it's not a tournament, it's not a championship, it's just a thing.
Okay, bigger than that. Who would you move to NXT? We just saw Ember Moon move back to NXT. Oh, all right. You're green.
I would move.
You know what'd be crazy? I want to move any women to NXT. I think NXT is fine without any main roster women right now.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. Move Lars Sullivan back to NXT. Move
Dominic to NXT.
Ooh, that could be it. No, they're not moving him. They're not moving. They're not doing anything like that.
You don't need Dominic for the blow off. He's already kind of had his matches. You need Ray and Seth is the thing.
Yo, watch Daniel Bryan be like, yo, I'm trying to go back to NXT, and everyone's like, no, you have to stay here where the money's at. He's like, I've been trying to petition. We're gonna hear in like 3 years that he was trying to petition for an NXT run for the longest so he could face Adam Cole, and it never happened because Vince wouldn't let him.
And the thing about people in NXT is that they now have the Undisputed Era in the storyline where it's like it doesn't make sense for them to get called up now. Like they've effectively shut that door again.
I would say until they had Ridge Holland do whatever Ridge Holland thing does. But I would say, honestly, if they didn't do what they did on Sunday,
they were leaving.
They made a definite split in the middle where you had Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole kind of being a face and Bobby Fish and Roddy being heels, where you could do a very soft, like, okay, Adam Cole's being called up and it doesn't affect kind of
what they're doing.
Yeah, because they're heels. So we'll see how it goes.
I feel really bad because I was going to come to this show prepared to say Tegan Nox is going to be a blue chipper that's going to SmackDown and she's going to take over the division. But then, tragedy struck again. And it sucks because I think I got a lot. I really like Tegan Nox a lot. And I think she definitely would have been called up here.
I think so as well. It's a shame what happened. It's just a shame. Okay, I think my headphones have officially.
Oh boy! All right, so headphones die for what is your new name again?
Brother, you can just call me Meelz for now.
Brother Sunflower. So if the sunflower has died, that means the show has to be over. Thank you guys for listening to the A Show. This is a super stacked episode this week of obviously with the return of Meelz to the show. We had to give you guys all the stuff that you've been missing for the past 2 weeks, but thank you for listening anyway. Of course, you can follow us and subscribe to us at A Show RNC on Apple and Spotify and anywhere you listen to podcasts at. We have so much content coming to you. We've had so much content come out literally in the last couple of days. I have to jump off of this and go right to record the G show with Cyrus. So take a chance to watch the G1 and listen to that with us as well. We also have the Rewriters Room. We also have Spot Callers, and we have the War Report coming this week as well. So thank you guys for listening, and thank you, Meelz, for deciding to come back after your sabbatical.
Listen, I'm here now, so I feel a wave of change. I feel a wave of new air.
Wow, what's that mean?
Bless the A Show. It just means things. It just means things. It just does. Najee Ramba is all I'll say as we end this.
This is your cleared moment.
yeah. Najee Ramba.
All right. So for Meelz, I am Justin. We'll see you next week on the A Show. Peace out.
All right. My headphone was